Oh, hey cats, what's happening? I was freezing my butt off, so I had to crank up the old electric blanket and crawl under the covers and spend a couple hours in bed. Yeah, I'm not feeling too good. Under the weather. No matter how hot of a fire I put in this thing, when you got the flu and you get a fever and you start getting the chills, you just can't get warm. Uh, I had the house up to 74 degrees, which normally I would be sweating. It would be way too hot for me. But I was so cold, I had to go climb in bed. So that was a couple days ago, and I'm still struggling with this flu. I just started out with the a runny nose and feeling kind of crappy, and then the next day it went right into a fever and just severe sinus congestion, that whole thing. And then it developed into just constantly blowing my nose, sneezing. Fever was going up and down for 2 days, uh, sore throat, and then now it's the cough. And it hurts. So I can't get any sleep because when I lay down, it makes me cough even worse. Excuse me. And last night it was like every 5 minutes, cough and cough. It was so hard to get any sleep. I did manage. At some time during the wee hours of the morning, I was finally able to fall asleep for a couple hours and get some sleep. But boy, it sucks the life out of you. At my age, it's very difficult. Now, here's the worst thing about getting sick when you're a widower or when you're single like me. You got nobody else to take care of you or to help you. Not that I need anybody to take care of me, but there are still household chores that have to be tended to. And there's nobody here to do it except me. So even when I'm sick, I have to get up off my butt and take care of those things. I have a pet cat, so it needs fresh water, it needs fed, it needs its litter boxes cleaned. I had to sweep the snow off the steps and the sidewalk just in case somebody were to stop over. I don't want somebody busting their butt on the snow or the ice out there. I got to feed my birds every day. So the other thing too is nobody's going to bring me a hot cup of tea or a chicken noodle soup or anything like that. That's all on me. So I got to get up and I got to fix my own meals. Otherwise, I go hungry. So, anyways, yeah, I'm roughing it out this week and doing okay with it, surprisingly. It hasn't killed me. It's going to take a little more than that, but boy, it sucks the life out of you. Oh, I'll be glad when this passes. We got about a foot of snow, and well, that's the other thing. I got to keep carrying wood in the house to feed the fire too. So that's another chore that I have to do when I'm not feeling up to par. My brother called me the other day and he said, "Hey, there's a Kawasaki KLR going on the auction," and this was a couple days ago. And he said, "The auction starts at 1 o'clock. You should go down there because you could probably pick it up for dirt cheap." Well, I was. The auction was actually an hour, at least an hour's drive, and I thought, wow, there's like no way I can make it. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of late notice, and I don't follow the auction block that much, if at all. I mean, I'm not really shopping. And most of those auctions are cars and other vehicles, And once in a while, there's a motorcycle or two that shows up on the auction block. So I pulled up the website and I looked. Sure enough, there was a Kawasaki 650 KLR adventure bike. It was a little beat up. It had moderately, I wouldn't say high miles, but moderate amount of miles on it. The tires were bald. So it definitely had a lot of use. And being that it had bald tires, I had to wonder just how hard whoever owned it was riding it. So anyway, my only option was to do online bidding, and so I tried to set up an account and go through all the process, and then it had to go through approval, and by the time all of that took place, the thing had already sold. Somebody paid $3,700 for that bike. I don't know that I would have paid more than 25 for it at the most. And even then, I mean, when you're buying a piece of used equipment like that, you never know what you're getting. I mean, they don't start it up and let you test ride it or anything like that. It's just sitting there on the auction yard, and you either take it or leave it. So I'm guessing the thing needed some work. But anyways, yeah, and here's the thing too. My brother keeps pestering me to get an adventure bike. And I don't know that I'm well suited for an adventure bike at my age. I know there's guys my age that do ride adventure bikes, but here's the thing about them. They're more like a dirt bike, so they sit way higher. And when I've sat on his, I've ridden his, I've sat on them before. I actually went and looked at them because I was considering, well, maybe. But when you sit on a bike and your feet can barely touch the ground, and I don't have short legs either, I don't feel real stable. And you're sitting much higher. It's a lighter bike. I am not sure what the weight is on a KLR, but they're not real heavy bikes unless you load them up with luggage. But anyway, here's the other thing. When you use the adventure bike, you're going on and off road, and I think my days of doing off road are pretty much done. I don't. My brother went on an adventure ride last summer and ended up having a little crash and really hurt himself pretty bad. He didn't break anything, but boy, did he get bruised up. I don't need that at my age, and from the videos I've watched, these guys, if you're going to ride an adventure bike, usually go down. They usually go down, and at one point or another, because you're riding on all kinds of different surfaces. And I just keep thinking, I don't know if that's the right thing for me, and I don't think I'm going to go for it. So anyway, I hate to tell my brother, but I don't know that I'm real excited about getting into adventure bike riding. I'm completely comfortable and happy with riding my Harley. And that's the lifestyle for me. That's what I like. That's what I enjoy. When I do ride, that's my choice ride. That's what I do. So again, being cooped up in the house over the winter, I continue my hobby of model building, and I'm currently building this 1978 GMC. It says Big Game Country Pickup. It's got camo, and you see the decals have all the camo on there. I'm not going to do a camo though. I'm going to paint it like a dark blue, or I'm going to make it like a classy looking truck. So I've been working on it. I've pretty much finished the chassis, and it's very detailed, as you can see. There's the front axle drive, the rear, the drive shafts, the exhaust, the transfer case, the wheels, It even has like these little shock absorbers on there, and they have decals on there that say high roller. The engine is very detailed. So I've been working on that. I've been working on the interior and the dashboard. The dash is really complex because it's very intricate work. And the next thing I have to do is put the little tiny decals in the into the gauges, and those are on this sheet too, right there. Those little tiny decals go on there, and then these 4 decals go right in the center of each wheel hub. So I will probably work on that a little bit today, just to keep me busy. So I'm kind of liking it. I think it's going to be a fun project. You know, I see the motorcycle culture as a very strange one in regards to anything else. I mean, because of your choice of motorcycle that you ride, kind of sets us into categories. Unlike other vehicles, I mean, nobody seems to care whether you drive a truck or a car or an SUV, a minivan. We don't have, there's no, there are car clubs, but they're just kind of a fun get together thing, car shows and things like that. But in the biker culture, it actually divides up into groups, which is kind of strange, you know. Obviously, there's the Harley riders or the cruisers. And I think they're becoming a bit more diverse where that can include other makes and models other than Harley Davidson. But for the most part, Harley seems to have a culture of its own. You know, when I first bought my Harley, it opened up a whole world that I never knew existed, like a subculture. I was invited to parties that I never knew existed, rides, camaraderie with other bikers that rode Harleys. It was crazy. I never expected as much. I mean, I met it opened up a whole new world for me that I never even realized existed. Although I had been riding motorcycles my whole life, never really engaged in the Harley culture. So that was a whole different thing. But, you know, aside from that, now we've got like I said, the adventure bike riders that kind of put themselves in a different category. The sport bike riders, obviously, kind of draw the younger crowd. Sport bikes are not made for travel. They're made for speed, for race, for high performance. And that's what younger people like. A guy my age, I'm not, I mean, there are some guys that still like high performance. Or they put a lot of money into their Harleys, but they're not into doing the wheelies and the you know, all the crazy stuff that these going you know, 200 mile an hour on the highway on one wheel and all that crazy stuff. No. Splitting lanes and all that. That doesn't seem to be part of the Harley culture. So there's like a rift between the sport bike riders and the Harley riders, and being that there's like almost like an age gap too, because a lot of the Harley people, and when I say Harley people, I kind of include the other makes and models too. So whether you're riding an Aspen Cade or a Ruin or whatever, you know, an Indian, a Victory, you're still in that category. It's mostly like more mature people, older people. You don't see a lot of older people on sport bikes. It's mostly a very young crowd. I keep telling my brother, well, he's the adventure bike rider, one day you'll grow out of that and you'll want a Harley. And he keeps going, no. Well, he's in his early 40s, so I still give him some time. After he drops that thing a few more times and gets hurt, he's going to change his mind about. He's going to change his mind about riding. I know I should be wearing a mask so I don't breathe on you guys, right? I don't think it's going to happen through the video, but if somebody else was over here, I'd probably have to have something covering my face just for the fact that every time I cough or sneeze, I'm blowing that stuff out into the air. I hope nobody comes over to visit me right now, because this would be like dangerous zone, contagious, you know, and I don't want to spread it to anybody else. But anyway, you know what I'm saying about the biker cultures. They're kind of diverse. Of course, we all know that the clubs, the motorcycle clubs, are even more diverse and kind of off in a world of their own. So there's just so many different. It's just weird that it's broken up into so many different factions that are not really compatible. You know, they don't like interface with each other very often. I mean, well, they do, but not entirely. Whereas anything else, vehicle-wise, you don't really get that. Maybe I'm wrong, but it just seems like the motorcycle culture is one of a kind, in a different world of its own. I did go out hiking the other day with Buzz and my other friends, Leslie and Guy. And even though I felt like crap, I thought I needed to get out of the house and get some exercise. And I was able to do the 3 miles and survived it quite well. I think being out in the fresh air actually helped me feel better. Surprisingly, I did the whole walk. I didn't cough once. I didn't have any trouble. I was able to do it and do it well. So I think doing those kind of things like that, even though it's hard to do when you don't feel well, can kind of help you to get better quicker. At least that's my thought. I don't want to wear myself down completely, but I really enjoy hiking. I really enjoy the camaraderie of my friends. And I think being outdoors like that and you know, in that kind of environment, I don't think there was any risk of me passing my illness to them, or I sure hope not. Being that, you know, there wasn't any close contact, there was no indoor contact. It was just us taking a walk together outdoors. You know, yesterday was a strange day. I had my one of my very first Harley riding buddies called me. Now, he sold his Harleys. He had a Road King and he had a Shovelhead, and he sold both of those years ago and quit riding. I don't know why. He just decided that it was his time to walk away. I mean, him and I rode all over the place together, and he was a really good rider, and we rode very well together. We rode tight. We experienced a lot of stuff together, hardcore biker world. But he just decided he was done, and he walked away from it. Well, he called me yesterday for the first time in who knows how long, and you know, he wanted me to help him out. He needed a favor. He was unable to drive, and he needed a chauffeur to help chauffeur him and his wife into Akron, Ohio, which is probably about 30 miles from here. So I thought, well, I'm very capable, and you know, it's my duty anyway to help my brothers. So I agreed to help them. And when that's going to happen, I'm not quite sure. As we get older, though, I guess, you know, we need to kind of take care of each other. And, you know, if there's anything that I can do to help my friends, I will, you know, put myself out there and give them a hand when they need it, because if I ever need help, I would hope that somebody would stand up and be willing to help me too. And I know that some of my friends absolutely would do that, no matter what the situation is. And then the strangest thing was, last night. It was probably a little later in the evening when I had a phone call, and I didn't quite recognize the number, but I thought, well, who's calling me at this time? And I answered the call, and it was a guy that I used to work with many, many, many years ago. Now, this guy, he was a little younger than me, and he had some disability. I don't know if I'd call it disabilities. He was almost blind in one eye. He was very introverted. When he was a child, he witnessed a murder-suicide with his parents, and he was just a toddler at the time. And when they found him, when they finally found the situation, he was there alone with his deceased parents. So it was a very traumatic thing for him as a baby. And he was raised by his grandparents. Well, he ended up getting a job at the park system, and I spent, I think, probably at least 17 years working with him. And he almost became like a brother to me because we were always together, always working, doing stuff together. Well, he bought a Moto Guzzi motorcycle. I don't know if you ever heard of Moto Guzzi. I think it's an Italian bike. But he bought one, and then I offered to go riding with him a couple times, so we did that too. His brother, though, was completely the opposite of him. His brother was a hardcore biker. His brother had an old Panhead, probably a 1947. It was in mint condition. He babied that thing, but he was a rough dude, and I liked him a lot. We hung around a little bit, but not a whole lot. I spent more time with his brother, being that I worked with him. But anyway, the biker brother ended up getting inebriated one night, and on the highway, he slammed into one of those flashing arrows that change lane, and killed him instantly. And so the cat that I worked with gave me the saddle. They had leather saddlebags on his Panhead, and he gave me the saddlebags, and I kept those on my bike for a long time until they completely fell apart, and they got like dry rotted after all. They were in pretty bad shape when I got them, but I always kept them on my bike in memory of him. It was a sad day to lose him. But anyway, here this guy I worked with called me last night just to reminisce and talk, and he said he had missed me. It's been a long time since he had talked to me, and he just wondered how things were going, and he was lonely, and he needed somebody to talk to, and he called me. And we talked for quite a while, and talked about all the things that we lived through. And when it was all said and done, he said, "Do you mind if I call you again sometime?" And I said, "No, I don't mind at all." I said, "Good grief, we spent 17 years together, practically as brothers." I said, "You should feel free to call me anytime you want." And he was very grateful for that. So that was quite a surprise to me, and I felt blessed by it. I mean, sometimes I feel like God brings these people to me for some reason or another, and that's a blessing to me. Well, I'm like I said, still battling this disease, this illness. But I am improving a little bit every day. If I can get over this cough right now, I'll be way better. Way better. So, with that being said, I I'll try not to nap today. I mean, the past couple days, just sitting here in this chair, uh, I had like zero motivation to do anything. I mean, I wasn't even excited about going in there and building model because I just felt so crummy. And I would sit in this chair and I would just zone out and sleep for an hour or two, wake up, um, you know, do what I needed to do, and sit back down and fall asleep again. I think I'm past that stage, and I think I'm past the fever stage too, because yesterday I had a slight fever. Today I'm way better. No fever today. So I think it's done, or I pray that it's done. Well, thank you for your prayers and your support, you guys. I appreciate it. Um, I don't mean to spread my ill will to the rest of you, but that's life, you know. I mean, old Itchy isn't always perfect here. He does have his down days too. So as hard as I try to stay on the upside, um, I fall down into those dark ditches once in a while. But I'll get back up on my feet again. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, hit me with that thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and continue to join me. And till next time, cats, I'll catch y'all later.